the Hub on Hollywood, an iHeartRadio podcast. I'm your co-host, James Rojas.
And I'm Jamie Blanco.
On this week's episode, Jamie sits down with the director and cast of a new movie that was filmed right here in Massachusetts and is coming to select theaters. One of the best shows of the last decade just wrapped up, Andor Season 2, and it's brilliant. Jamie takes us behind the scenes of The Walking Dead Dead Cities. Dead City. At
Correct.
This point, I'm sure the spin-off, the sequel, will be more cities, more dead cities, even deadier, deadlier.
Yes.
That local casting. But first, Jamie, let's talk about, what everybody's kind of talking about, and that is the second season of The Last of Us. You are a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of it. But apparently, reportedly, people are dropping off like flies, like infected after the loss of Pedro Pascal.
Listen,
not of Pedro Pascal, of his character,
of Joel.
Oh
my God, what happened to Pedro?
We still have Pedro. Don't worry. Sorry to scare everybody.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yes, we protect Pedro with our lives.
Absolutely.
But how reportedly? Okay, because I know that I'm still watching it, and episode 3, like right after the, his brutal. Spoiler alert, guys! If you haven't watched.
Yes.
The Last of Us, spoilers here. After his brutal loss in episode 2,
right.
Episode 3 was fantastic. I am still really, really enjoying this story. I am enjoying the chemistry between the remaining characters and where it is going and what is happening. It's other people's loss if they just turn it off because we've lost Pedro. I feel like the spirit of Pedro is still there, right? I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Well, the fact is, and I think I've said this before, that we're still going to see Joel reappear throughout the season, and we got that at the glimpse of the last episode, like the teaser for the next episode, and we see flashbacks. We see that Joel and Ellie are going to be having more conversations, and so Pedro Pascal is not gone. He's still in the series.
In the show,
he's
guys.
still in the show, even though his physical form, his alive, living form, isn't there. But the reason why people are saying that that there's been a decline in viewership following it is because, again, more information needs to come out. But if you looked at the audience scores per episode, there was a significant drop of audience scores for the episode after episode 3 and 4 compared to the first episode and second episode, and of course the first season. And so people are using that as a metric, showing there's less interest, less people putting reviews in because of their disappointment in what happened. Whether they knew that Pedro Pascal's character was going to die or whether it was a big surprise. A lot of people say that that is one big reason, killing off Joel, that we're seeing this kind of decline or shift in viewership. And that's one thing that I asked you because obviously we are both big Pedro fans, but I did ask, and you, I'm not sure if you actually saw the episode where he does depart.
I watched all the way up to his departure, and then I skipped past that because I can't.
Okay. Because I did ask you, were you going to watch afterwards? And you said you were going to maybe not watch that scene, but you were going to continue the series.
Yes, and I have to what I have been able to watch. Life is very busy, James. I'm not sure what episode they're on so far. I'm at 4, I think.
Okay, we're pretty much there. I think we're coming up on 5, I believe.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm pretty caught up, actually, then. I don't know. I think that people are grasping at straws. I think that there's always people with an agenda who are going to be upset no matter what you do or what you say or what is in the show, that are trying to maybe create a controversy, right? They're trying to create drama around this. And I don't know if that's good or bad, because sometimes bad press is good press. Any press is good press and can bring more attention back to the show. But, I think if you really are just going to not watch it just because your favorite character died, and not give the rest of the show a chance, you are really missing out.
I did bring up though that people who knew about the game's twist and now the series twist. They were saying that if you're playing the video game, it's easy to continue that story even though you are very disappointed in what happened. It's much different when it comes to a television series or a movie to keep that investment, strong. And so, I wasn't initially or really surprised that there would be a dip in viewership, but it's sad to see because the story is continuing. It's a great story, and as you mentioned, the drama, the people that are bringing up, oh, The Last of Us is now terrible, it's unwatchable. There's the people who are being I don't know what's the right word, genuine,
Vocal?
genuine about their concerns and their disappointment. But then there's also that part of the internet where you have people who are upset about the actress Bella Ramsey who plays Ellie. Even since the first season, there are many people who were like livid that she was selected as that character because they say she looks nothing like Ellie in the video game. Pedro Pascal doesn't look exactly like Joel in the video game, but nobody had a problem with that. But they had a problem with Bella taking that role. And so I think this is just another thing people can add on and throw on top of more baggage and just rant online about why this is a bad show or why Ellie or Bella is such a bad person to be in this show. So I think there's a mix of genuine disappointment and those who are excited and happy to be adding to the drama and that infighting.
Happy to add to the drama.
Yeah.
You know what they say, James?
What do they
Haters
say?
gonna hate. And you have just gotta shake it off.
We're gonna get demonetized now. Thanks, Jamie.
Oh no! Oh God! You know who else is shaking it off? Our beloved Pedro. Our beloved Pedro, James. Just speaking about him, he was at Cannes recently and had been asked about the political turmoil happening in this country and the way people fight each other online and things like that, and I really think that Pedro's philosophy applies here as well. And he's like, F the people that try to make you scared, fight back, don't let them win. They try to make you scared so that they can win, so that they can take your power away. And just F that, he said over and over again. So that has just become like this beautiful thing that's exploding online because it's so simple, so pure, but so true. So it's just one of the many reasons why we love Pedro.
All right, go Pedro, and go with The Last of Us. We're actually coming up on episode 6, so we're recording this Sunday. Episode drops tonight, and like I said, I'm a fan of the actors. I'm a fan of the series. I never played the video game, but I knew about the twist, so I knew it going in. So maybe that's why I'm not as heavily invested as all these other people that are crying online. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm very excited to see where this goes because at the last episode there was another twist development, and so this is going to take the series into a whole nother direction. So I'm really excited for that. And we should also be really excited for new casting news regarding a film that's based on one of the most famous chefs in all of the world, Mr. Anthony Bourdain.
Mr. Anthony Bourdain, shooting for the film Tony, about the life of Anthony Bourdain, is kicking off in earnest in New England, in Boston, and out on the Cape. Boston Casting is the one handling this one, guys. So if you haven't already, go to bostoncasting.com, set up your free profile, get the alerts and the emails, and see if you can get put in the movie. Right now they're looking for a ton of people. They're looking for gnarly looking fishermen, general background. They're looking for children. They're looking for
who's scruffy looking.
Who's scruffy looking?
Who's scruffy looking?
Scruffy looking nerf herder. That's what they're looking for. Scruffy looking nerf herders to be fishermen in Tony. So if that sounds like you, you're going to want to go to Boston Casting, check out those listings, sign up, throw your name in the hat, in the ball, and then, see if you get out on the boat. Boston Casting
make some
has
waves.
What's that?
I said make some waves, make a big splash.
Make some waves. Exactly. I don't think that that's part of it would be more like Jaws, but anyways, also also casting Grant Wilfrey. Grant Wilfrey casting is looking for kids to portray high school students aged 14 to 17 for a new A24 horror series. This is filming, I believe, in Connecticut and New Jersey. And it's called Mama's Boy. It's going to be shooting June through August. So they are looking for kids, high schoolers for that one. That is Grant Wilfrey casting. Mucho exciting. You're going to want to send an email to mamasboy@gwcnyc.com with the subject line high schooler, and all your information. The kid's name, their guardian, SAG number if they're SAG or non-SAG, height, weight, pictures, all that jazz.
All that stuff.
All that wonderful, wonderful stuff. Just backtracking a little bit back to Boston casting, they were celebrating a TV pilot that they helped put together and that had recently premiered called The Provider. A ton of local talent involved in that one, so we'll see where that project goes from here. And also, big ups to Kendall Cooper Casting, who were behind a lot of the castings for The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2, which has premiered on AMC Plus and various other streaming services that have AMC. So that's really exciting. Also, we're going to be talking more about that and giving you a little behind-the-scenes glimpse of the Dead City and how they transformed Boston into a post-apocalyptic New York. But before we get there, James, what else are we talking about here on the Hub on Hollywood?
Well, speaking of transforming, this latest series, Andor, Season 2, is in the books, and it has transformed the way many of us Star Wars fans are watching the original trilogy and Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Huh? It's fantastic. It's some of the best, again, I think television or TV series that's streaming over the past decade. It is brilliantly written, brilliantly acted, brilliantly. How many times can I say that? It's beautifully shot, and the season 2 just wrapped up, and it takes us right into Rogue One, which then takes us right into A New Hope. And this is again, are you watching the show right now? Have you been able to start it?
I'm trying to start it. Start it.
Have you seen season 1?
No, I'm bad.
My God, okay.
I'm bad. Remember, bad.
Bad, Jamie. Jamie.
Here, maybe you can help me here, James,
sure.
Because I just feel like my heart has been burned by Star Wars with the sequel trilogy, and there's just so much like emotional roller coaster between all the different Star Wars projects. I know that Andor is good. I know this intellectually, but I don't know that I'm ready to let it into my heart. If I commit the time to watch this show, James, am I going to be heartbroken? Is it like so diametrically opposed to all of the movies that it doesn't feel like the same kind of Star Wars?
No, it feels like the original Star Wars. It feels like the original trilogy, and you need to have hope. You need to have hope and go into this series. And actually, I'm kind of jealous that you haven't seen season 1, because being able to watch it for the first time is one of those experiences that, when you watch a big movie, you wish, like, man, I wish I could clear my mind and experience that movie for the first time. That's how I kind of feel with Andor. You're in an incredible position right now to binge entire seasons 1, 2, and then pick up the story with Rogue One, and then leap right into A New Hope. It is so seamless. That is why it feels such like the original trilogy. Is that it seems so much like the original time period, the original era, and it's great. Again, for those who are unfamiliar, Diego Luna, he plays Cassian Andor, Denise Gough as Dedra, Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen, one of the main characters who is pulling all the strings and bringing the rebellion and different factions together. We have Adria Arjona as Bix, Elizabeth Dula as Clea, and Alan Tudyk reprising his role as that big, lovable droid K2SO. And again, one thing that this series does is it makes Rogue One even better. Because when Rogue One came out, I think a lot of people, they were saying, oh, this feels so much like a different kind of Star Wars movie. This is like a war, like an actual, like, feels like a real war, very grounded, without the Jedi and the lightsabers until the very end. But you have a very realistic version, a grounded version of the Star Wars universe. And that was very fun and kind of gritty and stuff. And so people had one perception of that, including myself. Not that it was bad. A lot of people enjoyed it before Andor, but they said, it's a great different kind of way to tell the Star Wars story. And then when you have Andor come in, and this actually was a series that I wasn't really looking forward to, because I was like, Andor, you're building an entire series about this character in this movie. I wasn't too thrilled, but it really does a great job at adding character depth to these characters, and building the world and showing you all the steps that have led up to the rebellion, growing in numbers and growing its strength and eventually standing up to the Empire. And it takes such a grounded. This is the good thing and bad thing about this show, is that it's so realistic that it reminds you of modern day things and events of empires rising to power, of propaganda being used to divide people, of how fear is a tactic to try to suppress rebellion and to extinguish any hope there is. And so the thing is, this show was written 5 years ago. So the director and writer Tony Gilroy, he actually looked at past history, like the history of different eras all around the world about rebellion and tyrants and civil wars and all that stuff to tell this story. And it just shows you that history repeats itself, unfortunately, too many times. And so that's one of the beautiful things and how timely this is. And that makes Andor fantastic. I won't go into spoilers, because if you haven't watched it like yourself, Jamie, I highly recommend you do it. Just know that this is peak Star Wars. This is right up there with The Empire Strikes Back. People are saying even better than The Empire Strikes Back. And I will be very easily swayed to agree with that. So if you love the original trilogy, if you love espionage, secret spies, and a slow burn to an amazing climax, this is the series for you to watch right now, especially during our current times.
Okay. All right. I believe you. I believe you. Everybody's yelling at me. Watch Andor. Watch Andor.
Watch it.
Fine. I will.
I'm kidding, but yes.
Will. As long as you guarantee that it won't break my heart, I will.
I mean, you already know what happens to Andor. Have you seen Rogue One?
Yes, I've seen Rogue One.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you already know what happens to Andor and Jyn Erso at the end. But Andor, so you'll definitely have feels again. If you watch Rogue One after Andor season 2, then there's more weight to deaths. There's more weight to moments. And so it makes, again, like I said, Rogue One an even better film. Because after I finished season 2, I went right into Rogue One, rewatched it again, and right after Rogue One, I went straight into A New Hope. And it's just one long, seamless transition from show to movie. It's beautiful. Mwah. Mwah, mwah. Yeah.
A chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Good. I'm happy to hear that. That makes me feel a little bit better about starting it, and perhaps I can compartmentalize my despair over the sequel trilogies and just pretend like that didn't happen.
Absolutely.
You know what? But you shouldn't pretend didn't happen. Are the incredible shows that get made here in New England. And one of those is now available to watch and stream on AMC Plus, and that is called Dead City Season 2. James, did you watch Walking Dead? Did you watch all of it? Have you watched any of the spin-offs?
I kept up with The Walking Dead up until like season 3 was the last season probably I watched, maybe 4, but after 3 or 4, I was like, I'm tapping out.
Yeah.
I'm walking done.
You're walking done. Yeah, I think the part of my husband and I's issue with it was that you never found out like what happened or why, or like it doesn't seem like there's any cure or anything that's gonna happen. It's just,
yeah,
I don't know. But either way, still a very strong fan base and a great series and a series of spin-offs that continue, including this one, Dead City Season 2, which was filmed here in Massachusetts.
Woot.
And James, I got to spend a little over a month actually working on this one when they were here. And it was just one of the most fun, most interesting experiences that I have ever had on set here in New England. So I'm just super, super excited about all the local people that were featured in this one. And if you're cool with it, I'd like to kind of share what that was like when they were filming here.
I suppose I'll be cool with it. Yes, of course.
Yeah, you suppose.
Yeah.
Well, this is my first time like working with zombies and like real movie monsters and things like that.
I know you've wanted to be a zombie or be a monster.
I wasn't tall enough. So for this one, they only wanted like super tall, skinny people for the walkers, which makes sense, right? Because
but you could argue short zombies are pretty scary too. They're like, ugh, get away from me! You're gonna bite my ankle.
Ankle biter.
Oh no.
Anyways, you gotta have like a short Latina zombie, man. They're out there like just salsaing across towards you, and never mind. I don't know where that's going, but that was a really interesting experience. So they had like 3 levels of zombies depending on how close you were to the camera. They had the full prosthetic zombies who were, for the closest up shots. They had zombies with just a rubber like latex mask and a costume. And then they had deep background zombies that just kind of had like a little nylon on their head. And we're just going, rawr, in the deep background.
Yeah, that's smart, though.
It was worth it. But I felt really bad for these folks, too. So I was both a background extra on Dead City, and a stand-in for one of the principal characters.
Negan?
But first, was that?
Were you a stand-in character, stand-in for Negan?
No, I was not a stand-in for Negan. He's just a little tall for me. I was a stand-in for Ginny, for the 14-year-old Ginny, who's one of the kids starring in this show, with Lauren Cohen, obviously, Walking Dead's Maggie, which was just really, really exciting. But I was going to say, on the days that I was a background extra, I come out on Season 2, Episode 1, guys. Season 2, Episode 1. I am a soldier because I'm so menacing, James, right? I'm so, like, intimidating. But let me tell you what. I mean-mugged the heck out of Maggie, all right? Out of Lauren Cohen. There's a scene where she's walking out of these double doors and she's standing off in front of, like, this group of soldiers. And I'm right in the front, James. Right in the front, giving her that mean mug and like lifting my chin, and I've got my hand on a gun and just ready. Like I was just acting my ass off.
Like, you should have improvised. You should have just improvised and just started shooting, like making a bang, 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 bang noise.
Yeah, you could do that once. You can do anything once. And then they'll fire you. But this was also my first time using weapons on set. Mm-hmm. And when they were filming this last year, this was right after the on-set shooting of Helena Hutchinson, right, on the set of Rust. And so when it came to getting our prop guns, it was very locked down. It was very, every single weapon was checked by 3 different people, even though these were completely inoperable things. They were taking no chances whatsoever. It took forever to get that gun, into my holster and then out of my holster, into my holster, out of my holster, because you weren't allowed to go to the bathroom with it. You weren't allowed to leave set with it. So that was my first experience with weapons on set. With monsters, I got to watch this whole scene where Maggie and Ginny are fighting zombies in a corral, which was all shot in Taunton. This location in Taunton was a real abandoned building, a real abandoned like brick factory building where we were shooting at. And actually, the night before, a couple of nights before we shot this big outdoor scene, one of the buildings collapsed.
Oh, wow.
It actually collapsed, and they had to corner a lot of it off, and we had to have a safety briefing because there was still glass and debris, all over this area where we were going to be filming. So that was not intentional, but it looked great in the background, but it was completely unintentional. So it was just a really exciting experience. There were tons of fans that were there, like Walking Dead fans that were camped outside of these shooting locations every single day. So that was really nice to be walking by in full costume and waving to folks. And it was just such a great energy. Lauren
do
Cohen.
Walking Dead fans have like a nickname or anything? Like the Walking Dudes or the Walking Deadheads?
Perhaps. I don't know. The Walking Deadheads, maybe. I wish I knew. I knew.
We'll coin that.
But they were so enthusiastic and fun, and they were all, looking out for Negan and looking out for Lauren Cohen. And so it's just a lot of really great energy. And Lauren Cohen just brought the energy as well. Not only was, being across from her, like this masterclass in acting, she's just spectacular and kind. But she also directed a number of these episodes. I got to watch her direct, which was fantastic. As I mentioned, I also got to be a stand-in for Ginny. So a lot of these scenes, I'm there for the eye line, for the camera's eye line or whatever, but there were a few scenes where I was literally sitting across the table from the principal actors when Ginny didn't need to be in the scene, but they needed eye lines. So they're shooting the back of my head, and I'm sitting in the scene with the main characters of this show, giving them all of the emotion that they need, staring into Maggie from The Walking Dead's eyeballs, staring into her soul while she stares into my soul, and acting my ass off camera, in support of a big actor. Like, it was just such an incredible experience, James. And it's just one of those magical things that you can do here in New England, because not only are there opportunities and so many movies and TV shows that get made here, there's not as much competition as there is like in LA or New York or whatever. Like, it's a marvelous place, right? It's a magical sort of region where dreams like this can happen and come true. So I had such an amazing experience on this set in so many different ways. Oh, the stunts as well. There were explosions on boats, and a boat on a rig in a warehouse, and God, the explosions were so cool. Everybody needs to watch this show. You should go watch it and check out all of the great local talent that are in featured background roles, day player roles, just hundreds, if not thousands, of local folks working on this one.
So for those listening, watching, what episode are you in? When
I am in episode 1. I am in episode 1.
All right.
Yeah, very first one. I get like 3 whole seconds of screen time of my face, like mean mugging Maggie.
Woot.
So very excited.
Excellent. All right, go out there, watch The Walking Dead, Dead City, and then eventually their spin-offs, Dead Towns and Dead Quarries and Dead Canyons. It's spreading, just like a zombie virus.
All right, James, speaking of local projects that people need to watch, there is a film locally made, about to start a theatrical release before heading to streaming, called Another Day in America. We had the opportunity to speak with the director and 2 of the actors involved in this very interesting, very, aggressive project, I want to say. And it's based on a true story about something that happened in our region as well. So, without further ado, here's our interview with the cast and director of Another Day in America. And today we are talking with the cast and the director of Another Day in America. Really excited to talk about this one. It is a film that is about to start. It's a limited theatrical release. We've got director Emilio Mauro, as well as two of the stars, Gary Bloom and Daphne Blunt. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Another Day in America is a bold, genre-defying feature directed by Emilio Mauro, that is in theaters April 25th, based on true events. It's a dark, radical film that dissects the modern workplace through a piercing and satirical lens. And so I watched the trailer for this. It seems like it starts off like a normal day in the office, and it just gets dark very quickly. Things go south. Emilio, I want to start with you. Tell us a little bit about what got you started on this project and what you wanted to accomplish with it.
I had this idea of the story that, has this ending that sort of, it's tough because, I have to make the decision, do I spoil it or not? But it has this kind of ending. I guess you have to spoil it because Gary's here. But so the movie essentially is about an office shooting that took place in 1999 at a company, in a technology company in Wakefield, Massachusetts. And what struck me about that office shooting at the time was that it was the day after Christmas. So it was the first time that I thought about the people that went into the office because obviously the day after Christmas is not a typical work day. You're bringing in other whatever happened the day of Christmas, you probably bring it into that next day. So obviously I didn't want to do that because, I didn't want to really touch the Christmas thing, but it's essentially a bunch of people that went out the night before or some things happened the day before, and now it's the next day. And we chronologically, hour by hour, go through the work day. So what I wanted to accomplish was what maybe those people felt on that day, that they're just dealing with their lives. And then all of a sudden, towards the end of the day, this tragic event happens.
Right. And it's all about that internal and external pressure. You can definitely see in the trailer how all of these divides and conflicts and tensions sort of build up throughout. And I just wanted to go over to Gary and Daphne really quickly. Daphne, we'll start with you, but same question for both. What got you into this project and what excited or challenged you the most about it?
Well, I got into the project. Emilio found me on like an old list of actresses as he was sorting through looking for people and just kind of reached out to me and wanted to see if I'd audition. And I had taken a break from acting for a while and was looking to get back into things. So it was kind of perfect timing. And when I read the script, I was like, obviously so intrigued and so captured. It's I don't come across a lot of scripts like that touch on so many interesting topics, but it was nothing like anything I'd ever done before. I've done like comedy and family shows before this. So I was like really excited to challenge myself to be in this like drama, to be like a main character. I had to cry. I had to do all these things that I'd never done. So it was a really exciting adventure, and it definitely pushed me in my acting and my process to really work on this character.
Thank you. And Gary?
I was brought onto the project in a completely different way. My cousin, Jonathan Sapphire, who's one of the other actors in the project, reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're looking for a guy for a particular role, and we think you could do it. We want you to meet with Emilio." So I remember Emilio. I think we sit in some downtown Newbury Street.
Yeah, we went to a cafe. Yeah.
Yep. And we talked, and as we left, Emilio was like, "You're a good fit for the role. Let's do it." So my approach was, through my cousin, and I'll always be appreciative to him and to Emilio for this opportunity.
And what did you feel about this role, taking on this role in particular with this character?
So this role was different for me because I'm not usually, and I don't want to give away too much, but I'm not usually the bad guy, and I'm kind of the bad guy in this film. but um, so it was just a different type of role for me. But I think one of the most powerful messages of the film, and there are actually many powerful messages, one of the powerful messages is it helps put things in perspective, and you realize that what seems so incredibly important because you didn't get this raise, you didn't get this promotion, or somebody insulted you at work, all of a sudden you realize that it's not so important after all in the big picture of things.
Well, I want to back up just a little bit back to Emilio. So this movie is not only locally filmed, local talent, it's based on a local tragedy. Emilio, I want you to talk to me a little bit about filmmaking in New England, storytelling in New England, and the stories that need to be told um, from here.
Yeah, I don't really see this as like a Boston story. I think that what happened at that office that day, it was just more of like an emotional reaction to something that I wanted to tell a story of a group of people that went to work one day and a lot of them didn't come home and they were dealing with things from the day before, obviously, like I mentioned. Um, as far as doing things locally, I mean, I love Boston. I love Boston films. I'd love to do more of them. I wouldn't specifically say this is set in, it's pretty obvious it's Boston because there's some slow locations that you can see that it's Boston, but uh, this isn't a film about Bostonians. Daphne is in LA. I don't think you've ever been to Boston. Um,
Only,
obviously
only
Garrett,
the,
the movie, yeah. And like recruiting the actors was interesting because like I remember when John sent me Gary, he's like, I think that's the guy. And I'm like, and right away I was like, yeah. And with Daphne, I saw her in a magazine that like ranked like the 30 most up and coming African American actresses. So I actually had a friend recruiter because I didn't have any way to get a hold of her. So it was just easier. The friend, like I think Raquel DM'd you, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just kind of like and like two of the guys, the Joey and the guy who plays Deuce Man, they're both from Texas. So there's definitely a local influence as actors, but like Richie Paul, Natasha, I mean, like we actually for a small movie, we actually flew a lot of people in to work on this. So, and I really wanted to be clear that it wasn't this like Boston story. Like for instance, Oliver, who plays Scott, who's Aaron, who plays Daphne plays Aaron, he uses a British accent. So it's just kind of, so like it's another day in America, not like another day in Boston. So I just want to be clear that it's not a Boston thing. But as far as generally speaking, I think Boston's an amazing city, and that we have a lot of great stories to tell here. I just don't think this is actually one of them. This is just a universal story that could really go happen in any city at any time.
So it's a universal human story,
Yeah.
something that happens in America every day. Um, but what was it like making the film here in New England versus LA, New York? What are the pros
I
and
mean, it allowed me to
cons
use
of
a
being
lot
here
of,
in New England?
yeah, it also allowed me to use local influence that I had or any local favors from renting the office to the investors that investing. I think all the investors are actually local. So I will say that. It's a true friends and family type film. I always say back, I always say, like, I made like a 90s film, where everyone like chipped in their money and made a film. And everyone who worked on this just brought their A game and really took it as like, hey, this is like a film that that I love and I don't want to make great. So it was like all hands on deck every day. So it was just great. I don't know if I would have gotten that if I went to Oklahoma to go make the film.
Gary and Daphne, talk to me a little bit about working here and what it was like on set. Once you finally got on set and you were dealing with the material and the shooting, kind of take us through your process and your experience on set. And we'll start with Gary this time.
The experience on set was amazing. Emilio had a top-notch crew. The DP was fantastic. We had an armorer on set because there were some weapons involved. He sat me down. He trained me on the two different weapons that were used that day. Um, it was just a great experience. Everybody was professional. Everybody knew their job. It was a really tight run set, which I think is about the biggest compliment you can pay to a set. It was very tightly run.
Great. Yeah, that is good to hear. I'm on set a lot too, and I've seen some of the best and some of the worst. So that is a big compliment. And Daphne, what was the experience for you like?
It was fantastic. I think I was on set the most days of any of the actors. I was there a lot. And it just getting to see everything going on. Everybody really was working really well together. And we were filming in an actual office. So you could very easily immerse yourself in the ambiance and the setting of what was going on. Like, every time I would go to the bathroom, like, the people from the other businesses would come out into the hallway and be like, "What are you doing? Why are you here?" So yeah, it was a very immersive experience. And like I said, I had never been to Boston before filming this, and I loved it. I love going to new places and getting to explore. I was very amused by everyone's accents and like the different like food culture and just all of those things. And it was snowing. It doesn't snow in Los Angeles, so it was really a fun experience.
Wonderful. And as far as what you hope people take out of the film and your character, what do you hope that they get out of it?
Yeah, I feel like Erin is such the embodiment, like maybe like a little bit of a drastic version, but like such the embodiment of like a Gen Z girl who like has all these dreams. She's kind of stuck in like the old world where you need to get a corporate job and you need to pay your bills and do all these things, and I think it's really easy to perceive her in a negative way, but really she's just kind of her own hero of her own life. And I hope it gives people a little bit of insight and compassion when they see, girls going for these things that can be very easily perceived as like vain or materialistic.
I love that. I love that answer. Emilio, back to you. Um, so tell us a little bit about your journey as a director. Growing up here, how you got into film, and the kind of stories that you like to tell. How have we gotten here to this point with you?
Well, it's like a long question. I'll try to give you like the shortest version
Yeah.
of it. I've always everyone loves movies. If you're in the movie business, it's because you love movies. And especially if you want to work behind the camera. I I'm influenced by the movies that I saw as a kid and that I thought were real, right? I'm like, oh, I know that person, or I feel that, so and I just yeah, I started off early, I guess it's like a student filmmaker. I stopped all that, then went through this other path in life, and then uh, I started writing again with somebody, and we got some luck early on. Um, but I think that the one thing that I mentioned this a lot in these interviews is that I never wanted to direct. I just liked writing, and I thought my contribution to my writing would be like producing, like because producers get their hands on a lot of things. But I realized at the end of the day that just through my journey that whatever I write, I probably have to direct. Um, and that's why I directed this. This is my first time directing, and honestly, directing was just an extension of my writing. It was as natural to me as writing it. While oddly, producing feels very unnatural to me. Um, yeah. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I think I did.
Yeah. And now we're going to the theatrical release. Um, Tell us about how we secured the theatrical release and where people can go and see this film.
So, I've been around a little bit. So a company called XYZ represented the film, a very prominent sales company. They found a distributor that really loved it. And I think they did a small theatrical release. And now I think we're all kind of gearing up for this like June 17th, like nationwide digital release. That'll be on like Google Plus, Amazon, Apple, where people can rent it or buy it. So I think that's kind of where, because this is a small film and a lot of the commentary, it kind of lives on like a digital platform, like X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it now. Or, like it's funny, if you watch the film, you'll see a lot of the dialogue kind of, it's like comes a lot, it's like almost like a comment section of like a very polarizing tweet, right? So that's like, so I kind of, I always said early on in the press of this film is that film lose out in real time to the internet. So, but what film has is the power of narrative, the power of storytelling, and that's why films that are 50 years old are still awesome to watch. So, I wanted something that's timeless. Um, the way The Breakfast Club is timeless, and like you can go back and watch The Breakfast Club, and even though it's an '80s movie dealing with '80s problems, they resonate. So that was really my ultimate goal: is to literally compete against the internet, compete against the commentary that we lose in real time on a, and I love podcasts like the Joe Rogan podcast, but give them something that's has those narrative components that can survive time. And so we'll see. We'll see what people think in about a month.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to see this one. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
everyone's performances in it. I think a last question for the whole group would just be, what is your advice for actors or filmmakers who are up and coming, want to do what you're doing? And what are you watching now? Those two. Advice and what are you watching now? That's usually what we end up. So why don't we start with Daphne?
Yes, I mean, my advice would just be to like get yourself out there, like find friends, make films, get yourself on the sites if you're looking to audition, get headshots, like just get out there and start doing it. I know fear is something that holds a lot of people back, and that's just really a big thing to get over. And then what am I watching now? I'm like, oh my gosh, I watched so many random things. I just watched this really good, I love like crime series. I just watched a really good series called The Stolen Girl. That's what I would recommend.
All right, very on theme. How about you? How about you, Gary?
I give the most common advice, which everybody gives, which is just don't give up, because you never know what opportunities are around the corner. Quitters never win and winners never quit. Just keep going, and you work hard enough, your chance will come. As far as what I'm watching now, I'm almost a little embarrassed, but I'll admit to watching the old reruns of Spencer for Hire.
Nothing embarrassing about that. Don't worry. And what about you, Emilio?
What I'm watching, I'll do what I'm watching first.
Okay.
I'm a big, I like, it's odd because it's a small film, but I like production value, and I'm a big franchise fan. So I'm watching Andor season 2, and I like Marvel stuff too. I mean, I'm just like, like James Gunn's new Superman, I'll be there, right? So it takes a lot for me to get to the theater too. So those are the things that get me to theaters. My advice is that be prepared to suffer a
Okay.
lot, and if you have it, you have it. Like
You got it. You got to
there's
keep it real.
the business is changing. Um, who knows? Who knows what we'll be in 5 years? I'll be a bot. I'll be some AI director, right? They'll clone me or something. I don't know. It's just a bizarre business. So, if you got a story to tell, tell it. Find a way to tell it. Theater, write a book, put it on film. I don't know. It's just like I wish I could. The advice I would give in the '90s isn't the advice I would give today. So, just know that, like, yeah, like it really is. You got to suffer. Like, there's no shortcuts. So. But once you do it, it is a really great accomplishment, and cherish it.
I really appreciate the realism because that is how it is. So
Yeah.
we appreciate it. And James and I were constantly talking about, the challenges of the filmmaking, of keeping movies alive, and, AI can't tell human stories. All right. Humans tell human stories, and we hope that continues
I hope so.
Into perpetuity. Where can people find this film, or more of yourself if you're like on Instagram, on the socials? Where can they learn about the movie, and then you, and we'll go through Gary and Daphne too.
All right. I don't do social media anymore. I think it's like counterintuitive of who I am as an artist. I do like YouTube Reels. I'll go because that just me. For some reason, the algorithm works for me. But yeah, I don't do like the whole follow back type thing. What was your other question? Oh,
Where can you find the film? On
June 17th, available everywhere. So it'll be everywhere. So like Amazon, Apple, Google Plus. I mean, this all of them. Like wherever you rent your films, if you want to buy it, and then after that, hopefully, one of the streamers they'll pick it up. We just don't know which one yet. But I
Okay.
suggest if you're going to watch it, might as well just watch it on June 17th.
And Gary, you're a local guy. Where can people find you? Not your house address, just, online.
Well, I am in Witsec right now, so I can't reveal my house address.
Okay.
So I'm Gary Bloom Acting, and that's on Instagram, Facebook, Gmail, YouTube. So Gary Bloom Acting finds me just about anywhere on social media.
And Daphne, it seems like you've got a lot of projects, coming in the future. Very much looking forward to where everyone goes after this. Where can people find you?
Yeah, it's just my name, Daphne Blunt, on all platforms. I have them all.
Perfect. Wonderful. So the movie again is Another Day in America, limited release starting April 25th, on streaming in June. Thank you guys so much for being here on the Hub on Hollywood. Amelia, if you like those reels, check us. We've got plenty of funny reels, lots of marvels on Hub on Hollywood on YouTube. Hub on Hollywood everywhere on the social medias as well.
You got it.
Thank you guys again, and best of luck with this film and all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you again to the director and cast of Another Day in America for joining us here on the Hub on Hollywood.
Yeah.
We love bringing these great local talents and projects and films and stories to you here. If you are a filmmaker, if you are a storyteller, if you are a stunt performer, makeup artist, actor, director, writer, and you love films, we want to talk to you here on the Hub on Hollywood. Reach out to us. We're on all the major streaming services. We're on all the major social medias. We're on the Twitter, the TikTok, the Facebook, the Instagram. Search Hub on Hollywood. Like, share, subscribe. Reach out to us, and we would love to feature you and your work here on the podcast.
Yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe this episode, but also subscribe to the Hub on Hollywood. You can also listen to us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. Everywhere, we are there. So, yeah, thanks so much, and reach out. Jamie, we haven't done this in a while, and that is Cinequotes, one of our favorite games to play. I think we, if you look at our stats, we have we've won 76 games. We've lost 18, so we have an 80% win rate with a 7-game win streak.
Have we won that many?
We've won that many. We're just that good. And but I will admit, today is a Sunday Stumpa, which means these are notoriously harder. For those who don't know, Cinequote, it's a game, it's a mystery movie of the day, and you have to guess what the movie is based on a number of quotes. You have up to 5 guesses with 5 different quotes, each one getting progressively easier, I suppose. But again, this is the Sunday Stumpa, so hopefully we stump Cinequote. Jamie, are you ready to knock this out?
I am ready. As ready as I'm going to be, James. Let's give this a shot.
All right, we'll hit the first quote in 3, 2, 1. Oh, goodness.
Oh, God.
So this is not English already. This sounds like a foreign film.
What
Right,
language
Jamie?
is this?
I don't know. It says translated into English. Mrs. Grown Up, getting married soon. God knows what the future will bring. It'll be just the same. Yeah. What a way to start Cinequote again. I'm not quite sure, so we could try the next quote.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do the next quote. In 3, 2, 1. Yeah, we're not going to do very well with this round. Oh,
is
goodness.
that Japanese? Hold on. I'm just trying to identify the language.
No,
No, not Japanese. Let's see. I'm gonna go on to the next quote.
I'm gonna guess. Just because I don't know what language this is, but I'm gonna guess Godzilla -1. In 3, 2, 1. No. Okay. So next quote. Next quote in 3, 2, 1.
It's Chinese. It's Mandarin.
是你关系，就是的坏事，的坏事，藏心诀，藏心诀，让我苦练不成，我苦练不成。而你，全世界一切。
Okay. How about Flying Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Sure. We're just naming like the most obvious like Chinese movies. Flying Tiger. What is it? Crouching Tiger, right?
Oh, Crouching Tiger. Yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Hidden Dragon. Oh my God, it is! Woo! Good job, Jamie. Yes.
Right, we
My
gotta
next
keep that
guess-
streak alive.
My next guess was gonna be like Shanghai Noon or something, or Shanghai Nights. All right.
Yeah.
I knew we had this in
We
the
did
bag.
it.
I wasn't worried. I wasn't concerned. This is us. We're the Hub on Hollywood.
no.
If that's not a reason enough to subscribe and like and follow, I don't know what is. But yeah, what a great episode. For those listening and watching, let us know. Join the conversation. What are your thoughts on the whole Last of Us debate? Whether are you watching it still? Did you drop off? What do you think about people saying, it's not worth watching anymore now that Pedro Pascal's character is gone? Don't forget the local casting news for Tony, the Anthony Bourdain movie that's coming out, as well as some other projects. Andor. Have you dived into Andor, and are you binging everything else in the original trilogy? Let us know down below. And don't forget to check out Another Day in America. But yeah, Jamie, I think that's it. I think that's everything.
James.
Yeah.
That we've covered a lot of ground. Thank you for joining us here on the Hub on Hollywood. Like, subscribe, reach out to us, share some ideas. We love to keep talking, and maybe we'll make somebody mad again next episode. I didn't want to get anybody mad at me this episode.
Don't worry.
I think
New
Hampshire is still mad at me about the chicken
There's always
tenders.
next week.
Yeah, exactly. But until then, I'm Jamie.
I'm James.